am literally shaking as I record this. Last week, my girlfriend Madison said the words that are burned into my brain forever. I never loved you, Tyler, just your wallet. But that is not even the worst part. I need to get this out because it is eating me alive, and I don't know what the hell to do anymore. So here is what happened. I have been dating Madison for 8 months now, and I genuinely thought she was the one. I know how that sounds. We are not even living together yet, but this girl just got me, you know? We met at this Starbucks on South Lamar. She was studying for her MCAT prep, and I was working on some code. She was so sweet, laughing at my terrible jokes, asking about my work. Said she was a pre-med student at UT from this wealthy family in Houston. No debt, no drama. Just this beautiful, smart girl who somehow wanted to be with a nerdy software engineer from East Texas making $75,000 a year. God, saying this out loud makes me feel like such an idiot. Looking back now, there were red flags I ignored. She never wanted to go to her place, always said it was being renovated. Never met any of her school friends or family even though we had been dating 8 months. Her stories about her classes were always vague. When I suggested visiting her at UT, she had changed the subject. But I was so damn happy, you know. First serious relationship in 3 years, and she made me feel like I was worth something. Anyway, last Tuesday at 2:47 a.m. I got a bank alert on my phone. Someone was using my debit card at a gas station in Pflugerville. I thought it was fraud, you know. Called the bank immediately. They are like, "Sir, do you have your card with you?" I checked my wallet. It is there. But I had given Madison my card earlier that day when she said she needed to grab groceries and her card wasn't working. I waited until she got home around 4 a.m. When I asked her about it, she immediately started crying and admitted she had used it to get cash. Said she was embarrassed because her parents hadn't sent her allowance yet, and she was short on rent money. I felt bad for questioning her, but something nagged at me. So I checked my account more carefully over the next few days. That is when I found charges going back 6 weeks. Small amounts, nothing over $50 at a time. ATM withdrawals, convenience stores, a few restaurant charges when she claimed to be studying at the library. We are talking about $400 total, which isn't huge on my salary, but the lying that hurt more than the money. When I confronted her with the bank statements, she broke down completely, started sobbing about how stressed she was with the MCAT coming up, how her family was putting pressure on her, how she was scared to ask me for help because she didn't want to seem like a gold digger. I felt terrible. Here I was, suspicious of my girlfriend who was clearly struggling. That is when she looked me in the eyes and said the words that changed everything. "I never loved you, Tyler. Just your wallet. You were so fucking easy to manipulate." Just like that, cold as ice, like a switch flipped. I am not kidding. Those exact words. I felt my heart literally drop into my stomach. But wait, it gets worse. She started laughing, this bitter, cruel laugh, and said, "You really think someone like me would date someone like you for love? I have been bleeding you dry for months, and you were too stupid to notice." I was so shocked, I couldn't even speak. This sweet, gentle girl I thought I knew just disappeared. In her place was someone cold and calculating. She grabbed her purse and started heading for the door, but in her rush, everything spilled out. That is when I saw something that made my blood run cold. A driver's license with her picture, but a completely different name. Jessica Williams, not Madison Parker. I picked it up before she could grab it. She lunged for it, screaming about invasion of privacy, but I had already seen enough. Wrong name, wrong address, wrong age. She was actually 26, not 24. She stormed out that night and I haven't seen her since. That was a week ago. Y'all, I have been sitting here going through everything, and I keep finding more lies. I found receipts in my car from stores I have never been to. Expensive makeup. Clothes I have never seen her wear. She was using my money to buy stuff I never even knew about. My roommate Ryan has been amazing through this. He has been saying something felt off about her from the beginning, but I was too blind to see it. Now I am wondering what else I missed. I thought I was going to marry this girl. We talked about moving back to Dallas after her graduation. I was already mentally planning the proposal. How did I miss this? Am I the stupidest man in Texas? My mama raised me to trust people and see the good in them. But now I am wondering if she was playing me from day one. Should I go to the police? Should I try to get my money back? I know $400 isn't much, but it is the principle of it. And that fake ID, that has got to be illegal. Right? Ryan thinks there is more to this story, says professional scammers don't usually stop at $400. But I don't even know where to start investigating. I feel so stupid and used. Help me figure out what to do here, y'all. Update 1. I am back with an update that is going to blow your minds. Your comments gave me the push I needed to dig deeper into this mess. What I found. Jesus Christ. I wish I had stayed ignorant. First, thank you to everyone who reached out. The support helped more than you know. Special thanks to the users who told me to document everything and not let her get away with it. Y'all were right. So here's what has happened over the past 6 weeks. It has been a slow, frustrating process, but Ryan and I have been chipping away at this mystery piece by piece. Week 1 after discovery, I was pretty much useless. Couldn't eat, couldn't focus at work, kept replaying our entire relationship, trying to figure out what was real. Ryan basically had to drag me out of my apartment and force me to function. Week 2, Ryan convinced me to start investigating properly. We began with basic internet searches on Madison Parker and Jessica Williams. Found a few social media profiles that might be her, but nothing definitive. Called UT's Student Services, pretending to be a study group partner, looking for Madison Parker. They said no one by that name was enrolled in pre-med. That hit me like a truck. 8 months of dating, and her entire identity was fake. Weeks 3 and 4. This is where we started making real progress. But man, it was harder than you would think. We tried to track down her real address from that driver's license I saw. But here is the thing. I only got a quick look before she grabbed it back. I remembered it said North Austin and had a Runberg address, but I couldn't remember the exact apartment number. We spent 2 weekends driving around North Austin, checking apartment complexes on Runberg Lane. Finally found one that looked familiar. The Desert Willow Apartments. But when we tried asking the office about Jessica Williams, they basically told us to pound sand privacy laws. You know, Ryan had this idea about checking public records online. Took us hours of searching through Travis County property records, voter registrations, anything we could find. Found a Jessica Williams at 2847 Runberg Lane. Apartment 314 matched the general area I remembered. Week 5, we decided to stake out the apartment complex. I know how that sounds, but we just wanted to see if she actually lived there. Spent 3 evenings parked across the street, feeling like complete stalkers. On the 3rd night, we saw her. Same auburn hair, same build, but she looked different. More tired, less put together. She was struggling with grocery bags and what looked like financial documents. Week 6. I finally worked up the courage to approach her landlord. Didn't mention Jessica by name, just said I was trying to reach someone about returning personal items they had left at my place. The guy was suspicious as hell at first, but when I showed him the photo on my phone from our Cabo trip, he recognized her immediately. That is Jessica. All right, 2 months behind on rent, and I am fixing to start eviction proceedings. You know her? 2 months behind on $1,400 rent, while she was taking money from me for her supposed family emergency. But here is the real kicker. The landlord mentioned she had been getting mail for multiple names, not just Jessica Williams, but Madison Parker, Jennifer Walsh, and Maria Santos. He thought it was identity theft and had been considering calling the police. Multiple identities, y'all. This wasn't just a girl with money problems. This was something bigger. Now here is where we got lucky, but it took weeks to get here. Jessica had left a phone charger at my place, one of those universal ones that works for multiple devices, but I didn't have any device it fit. Ryan's girlfriend works in tech support and recognized it as a Samsung charger. We went to a pawn shop and bought the cheapest used Samsung we could find, just to see if the charger worked. It did. Here's the crazy part. When we plugged it in, the phone automatically backed up to a cloud account that was still logged in. Not Jessica's phone, but a previous phone's backup data. Dating apps, text messages, email drafts, all from about 6 months ago, and what we found in those backups: Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Conversations with at least 6 different guys across Texas, all happening simultaneously, all using variations of the same script, the pre-med student from wealthy family story. The same photos, just edited differently for each app profile. But here is what made my blood run cold. These weren't recent conversations. They were from when she was supposedly in the early stages of dating me. She had been running multiple cons the entire time I knew her. The text drafts were even worse. She had templates saved. Family emergency. Need 500 message. Car broke down. Can you help message? Rent is due and parents haven't sent money message. Professional level manipulation. With my psychological profile right there in her notes. Tyler, trusting, mentions mother frequently, responds well to distress scenarios. I have been sitting on this evidence for 2 weeks, trying to decide what to do with it. Part of me wanted to just block her everywhere and move on. But those other guys in the messages, they deserve to know what happened to them. Ryan convinced me they would want to know the truth. So this week, I am going to start reaching out to them. I also talked to a lawyer buddy about the evidence we have gathered. He says with multiple victims and identity fraud, this could be federal charges territory. But he warned me that financial crimes are hard to prosecute, unless the dollar amounts are significant. Here is what is keeping me up at night, though. If she was doing this to 6 other guys while dating me, how many people has she hurt over the years? How many guys are out there right now thinking they are in love with Madison or Jennifer or Maria? I cannot just let this go. She has probably moved on to new victims already. Someone needs to stop her. Next update, I will tell y'all what happened when I contacted the other victims. Spoiler alert. It is worse than I thought. Update 2: the last few months have been a roller coaster of discovery, frustration, and finally, justice. Your support has been incredible. The private messages, the advice, the people sharing their own scam stories, it all helped me get through this. So here is what happened after I started contacting Jessica's other victims. Marcus, construction foreman in Houston, 35 years old, lost $2,100 over 4 months. Jessica was Jennifer Walsh, a nursing student at Sam Houston State, same wealthy family story, same financial emergencies. Marcus sent me photos of the fake nursing uniform she bought with his money. He had been planning to propose. David, IT manager in San Antonio, 31 years old. She took $1,800 as Maria Santos, pre-law at Trinity University, claimed her student loans were delayed and she needed help with rent. David actually drove to Trinity's campus looking for her when she disappeared. Carlos, teacher in El Paso, 29 years old. Lost $900 to Madison Davis, art therapy student at UTEP. She convinced him to buy expensive art supplies for her final project. The supplies went straight to a pawn shop. William, accountant in Corpus Christi, 33 years old. $1,500 to Jessica Chen, business major at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. She needed money for a family medical emergency that never existed. Total damage across 5 victims, $6,700. Not counting the gifts, dinners, travel expenses we all paid for. Reaching out to these guys was harder than I expected. Marcus thought I was some jealous ex trying to cause problems. David hung up on me twice before agreeing to meet. Carlos was so embarrassed he almost didn't want to cooperate. But when I showed them the evidence, the same photos, the same scripts, the same fake documents, they all realized they had been played by a professional. We created a group chat to share information. It was therapeutic. Honestly, we all felt so stupid and alone before. But realizing we were part of a larger pattern helped with the shame. Here is where things got complicated. Jessica had committed crimes in 5 different counties across Texas. Austin PD said it was out of their jurisdiction for anything that happened in Houston. Houston PD said the dollar amounts weren't high enough priority. San Antonio was interested but said they needed more evidence. My lawyer friend connected us with a victim's rights advocate who explained how these cases work. Apparently, romance scams are incredibly hard to prosecute because the amounts are usually under $10,000 per volt item. Victims often don't report due to embarrassment. Crossing state lines complicates jurisdiction, and evidence is often circumstantial. We spent weeks filling out police reports, providing evidence, making phone calls. The bureaucracy was insane. One detective told Marcus that dating someone and accepting money isn't technically fraud unless we can prove intent to defraud. 2 months into this legal maze, we caught a break. A detective in Travis County, Sarah Rodriguez, took an interest in our case. Turns out she had been tracking romance scams across Central Texas for the past year. Detective Rodriguez helped us understand that Jessica's operation was more sophisticated than we realized. She wasn't just some girl stealing boyfriend money, she was running a business. Professional fake documents, research on targets, psychological profiles, systematic extraction methods. The detective explained that the multiple identities, the fake educational credentials, and the cross-state operation elevated this from simple theft to organized fraud. While we were building our case, Jessica escalated her harassment. She created fake social media accounts to message all of us, threatening lawsuits for stalking and defamation. She showed up at Marcus's job site in Houston, claiming he had stolen money from her. She called David's mother pretending to be pregnant with his child. She sent Carlos's principal a letter claiming he would sexually assaulted her. Professional victim behavior, according to Detective Rodriguez. When scammers get exposed, they often flip the script and become the victim in the narrative. Detective Rodriguez connected our case with 3 other victims she had been working with separately. Turned out Jessica had been operating across Texas for at least 3 years under various identities. The additional victims brought the total to 8 men and $11,400 in documented theft. Plus, we found evidence of at least 4 other ongoing cons in Oklahoma and Louisiana. The detective also discovered Jessica's real background. High school dropout from Tulsa, arrested twice for petty theft and check fraud. She had been working romance scams since she was 21. No legitimate job in 5 years. Her parents in Tulsa confirmed she had stolen from them too, $8,000 over 2 years for various emergencies. Jessica Williams was arrested last month at a hotel in Round Rock. She was in the middle of running a new con on some poor guy she had convinced she was a paralegal student. The charges: theft by deception, fraudulent use of identifying information, and organized criminal activity under Texas Penal Code. Because she crossed state lines and used false identities, federal charges are being considered. She is currently in Travis County Jail with bail set at $50,000. Her court-appointed attorney is trying to negotiate a plea deal. I am not the same guy who got played 8 months ago. This process taught me to trust my instincts, document everything, and never ignore red flags just because I want something to be true. The other victims and I have become close friends. We meet monthly for beers and actually laugh about the whole thing now. Carlos calls us the Jessica Williams Survivors Club. I am dating again, slowly. There is a girl at work, Sarah, who knows the whole story and has been incredibly patient with my trust issues. We are taking things very slow. But she is everything Jessica pretended to be: genuine, honest, employed, and actually enrolled in the graduate program she claims to be in. Red flags I missed. That might help someone else. Never meeting friends or family after months of dating. Vague details about work or school that don't add up. Financial emergencies that conveniently happen around payday. Reluctance to have you visit their place or workplace. Stories about their background that change slightly over time. No online presence that goes back more than a year or 2. Trust your gut. If something feels off, investigate. Don't make excuses for behavior that doesn't make sense. Jessica Williams thought she could play us Texas boys, like we are just dumb cowboys with deep pockets. She was wrong. We might have been naive, but we weren't stupid. She picked the wrong group of guys to mess with. We turned our shame into strength, our embarrassment into evidence, and our hurt into justice. Next update will be about her sentencing. Based on the plea negotiations, she is looking at 3 to 5 years in state prison. To anyone out there dealing with a romance scam, you are not alone, you are not stupid, and it is not your fault. Document everything. Reach out for help, and don't let them destroy your ability to trust good people. Justice is slow, But it is coming. Final update: Jessica Williams just pled guilty to all charges and got her sentence. Justice has been served. But let me tell you about everything that happened between my last update and today. Because it was a wild ride. The Texas legal system moves slowly, but Detective Rodriguez kept us informed every step of the way. Jessica's public defender tried to get the charges reduced, claiming she was a victim of circumstance who had made poor choices due to mental health issues. The prosecutor wasn't buying it. With 8 victims, documented evidence of systematic fraud, and her long history of similar crimes, they pushed for the maximum sentence under the Organized Criminal Activity Statute. Jessica's lawyer tried to get some evidence thrown out, claiming we had obtained it illegally, but everything we had gathered was either publicly available or willingly shared by the victims. The cloud backup evidence was tricky, but since it was accessed through her abandoned property, the charger, it was ruled admissible. 3 weeks ago, faced with overwhelming evidence and the possibility of federal charges being added, Jessica accepted a plea agreement. 4 years in Texas State Prison, full restitution to all victims. $11,400 plus court costs. 10 years probation after release. No internet access during probation, except for employment. Mandatory psychological counseling. She will be eligible for parole in 2.5 years with good behavior. 5 of us victims showed up to the sentencing hearing last week. I had never seen Jessica in an orange jumpsuit before. She looked small, defeated. Nothing like the confident woman who had manipulated us all. Marcus read a victim impact statement on behalf of all of us. Talked about the damage she had done, not just financially but emotionally. How she had made us doubt our ability to trust people, to believe in love. When Jessica had a chance to speak, she apologized, said she was sorry for the pain she had caused, and that she knew what she had done was wrong. Hard to tell if it was genuine or just another manipulation. But honestly, I don't care anymore. The judge was not sympathetic, told her that romance fraud destroys victims' ability to form healthy relationships, and that she had shown no remorse during her years of criminal activity. We are actually getting some money back. The state seized about $8,000 from Jessica's accounts, plus some electronics and jewelry she had bought with stolen money. It is being distributed among the victims based on our losses. I am getting back about 280 of the 400 she took from me. Not much, but it is the principle that matters. This whole experience changed me in ways I never expected. I am more cautious now, but not cynical. I verify things that matter, but I haven't lost my ability to trust good people. Sarah and I are doing great. She has been incredibly patient with my trust issues, and has actually helped me process everything that happened. We moved in together last month, and I am thinking about proposing next year. The Jessica Williams Survivors Club still meets monthly. We have expanded to include other romance scam victims Detective Rodriguez has connected us with. We have helped 3 other people navigate the legal process and provided support to about a dozen victims who chose not to prosecute. Looking back, I realized the red flags were there from the beginning. She controlled when and where we met. Never integrated me into her supposed life, school, family, friends. Her knowledge of her field of study was always surface level. She deflected specific questions about her past. Financial requests escalated gradually to test boundaries. She bombed me early to build emotional dependence. Professional scammers are skilled at finding and exploiting emotional vulnerabilities. They study their targets and craft identities, specifically designed to appeal to what we want. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, investigate, document everything. Screenshots, bank records, communications. Don't go alone. Get friends and family involved in the investigation. Contact other victims. You are probably not the only one. Work with law enforcement. It is slower than you want, but it works. Get professional help. Therapy helps process the psychological damage. Don't give up. Justice takes time, but it is worth fighting for. Jessica Williams is spending the next 4 years in prison thinking about the choices she made. We are moving forward with our lives, stronger and wiser for the experience. She thought she could destroy our ability to trust and love. Instead, She accidentally brought together 8 guys who became genuine friends and advocates for other victims. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well and helping others avoid the same trap. To anyone out there dealing with a romance scam, you are not alone, you are not stupid, and you will get through this. Document everything. Reach out for help, and don't let one bad person destroy your faith in humanity. The good guys won this time. Case closed. Story over. Time to live happily ever after.